Oh, that's what's going on at my school. I'm constantly signing anti. Okay. Forward them to me. I'll sign too.
Welcome everyone to tonight's Toastmasters meeting, English and Mandarin Toastmasters meeting. Of course, you can see the president is not here tonight, so I will be taking over for him for tonight. So before I get started, I do see one new face, and so if you would just like to stand up, introduce yourself, and talk about how you found out this club.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Diana, and I just said what you were talking about before. So I found out about this club when I was going on meetup groups, and I was just randomly looking for some keywords and networking groups, and then find out about your group. So I was like, why not? I work close by here, so I just signed up for the registering for this sections. So nice to meet you all.
Yay!
Let's have fun.
So welcome, Diane. Without further ado, I would like to introduce tonight's Toastmasters. We have Barry and Elliot. So have a round of applause to welcome them up here.
Good evening, everybody. I am the Toastmaster. I'm the Elliot name, in case you don't know which one is Barry and which one's Elliot. I'm handling the English portion of this meeting and handling the Mandarin portion of it. 这位先生，请你介绍自己。
大家好，我是 Barry 蔡白瑶是我的中文名字。今天我负责中文部分的主持。
So tonight's program, for those of you who are new to Toastmaster, or even just joined Toastmaster, I want to give you a brief description of what this meeting is all about. Every week we meet here and we try to improve two areas of our life: speech, communication, and also leadership. At every meeting, there will be 3 portions to develop. 你要不要给他们做？
我稍微简单的做一下解释，用中文。就是 Toastmaster 这个机构是每个礼拜有一个这样子的一个聚会。那基本上是我们会专注在2个地方，一个是就是帮助你在演讲或是沟通的基础上能够有一些整形的地方。第2个部分就是能够让你在你的领导力上能够有增加。
So we're going to conduct this meeting in a bilingual portion. But don't worry, we're not going to translate every single thing. Because the whole challenge of Barry and I standing here is that we need to make the meeting interesting to you. This is not a translation class, but this is a bilingual experience. All of you are sitting here, for whatever reason, you probably came here to either learn 3 things. You want to polish your English, you want to polish your Chinese, specifically Mandarin, and you also want to polish your public speaking ability. They actually go together, but in this very unique club, we will divide it in 3 terms. 你觉得怎么样？
那我再加一点补充，就是以目前这个说法的话，就是英文的部分，我想大家都能够理解嘛。要不要理解的请举手。So 看起来就是中文的话，大概可能只有你是 Johan 嘛，对不对？他的程度可能。
那是 Michael。
那是 Michael。
Yeah， 那除了 Michael 以外，
那我要講多一點還是少一點？
他剛剛問你們聽得懂聽不懂？怎麼你們沒有人舉手
Should I?
I think most of you Did you understand what he's saying?
Yeah.
OK， 会听得懂，至少会听得懂就举手。大部分 ，Yeah. Marcy, could you understand a little bit too? 一点点 OK, yeah. That's perfect. No matter how much of either language you know, there are people from China who who really want to improve their English. There are a lot of people in this country, both English speaking, Cantonese speaking, and whatever speaking, want to improve in either speaking Mandarin or listening to Mandarin. This club will give you an opportunity for all three. 那么现在 I need to. Now we're going to switch over to the program itself. In the program, I promise you that we have three portions: the prepared speeches, and then we have the table topics portion, and then we have the evaluation. The prepared speeches sounds just like what it has here, meaning you have some time to prepare. Welcome. 欢迎。好极了，还有一个人会讲普通话，请坐。
谢谢。
今天晚上大致上会分成3个部分。第一部分就是准备的演讲，那第二部分是即席演讲，第三部分就是就第一个项目跟第二个项目之后的做一个演讲的评估。
So we're going to start with the first portion. The first portion is the prepared part. And this speaker has been given, oh, I'm sorry, thank you very much, point of order. Helping Barry and I to do our job up here are some major helpers. For instance, we are going to, well, let's not do the grammarian yet because that's us. I'm going to introduce the R counter. R counter is just a minute.
在中文就是所谓的哼哈关。
Okay, and then I'm also going to call a timer, but let's call the R counter. Do we have one? Okay, Ben is going to do time. So let's get Timo. You want to do?
Sure.
Okay, so Timo, can you stand up and tell everybody what your role is?
Sure. When everybody, whoever's the speaker, when they get up there and speak, I'm gonna look for those filler words, and then in Mandarin, so I'm gonna look for those and then count them, and then at the end of the meeting, I'm gonna report and tell you how many of those filler words you used, and the goal, of course, is to use as few as possible, and ideally use none. So it's a good flow.
So both of us are excluded, right?
Pardon?
Both of us are excluded from your list.
Maybe I'll think about that.
Sorry, Barry. Everybody in this room is included. But we have a chance to have the most chenha of all of you. And then also helping us to do our jobs and your jobs to improve in speaking is our timer. Our timer is going to be Ben. Ben Chuck, can you tell the people what you're going to do?
To keep the meeting moving, my job is to time the speeches, the prepared speeches, the table topic speeches, and the evaluation of speeches as well. And basically, for prepared speeches, it's about 5 to 7 minutes. And when you're up 5 minutes, I shall flash the green card, and 6 minutes will be yellow card, and the red means that you already used up your time. That's for prepared speeches. For table topics, green is 1 minute, and yellow is 1 minute 30 seconds, and red you you reach the 2 minute mark. Evaluation, the same thing. There'll be green for 2 minutes. No, green is 2 minutes, yellow is 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and red is 3 minutes.
And then we have a third role called the grammarian. What is the grammarian, Barry?
中文就是文法官。
Since vocabulary is very important for all of us, when we are here to speak, it helps to increase our vocabulary. Because this is a bilingual club and we are so special, we can address either the English portion, the Chinese portion, or both. And in this case, last week we were asking for a grammarian. We forgot to get one volunteer. So Barry and I volunteered, and we came up with a Chinese phrase that we want to share with you. Barry, 你先讲。
我先讲中文的部分，有4个中文字，就是抛砖引玉。那这个是它的普通话的发音。那这个是整个句子翻译成英文的。
So this expression that Barry just mentioned, 抛砖引玉, to illustrate what it is, 抛 means to throw or toss. 砖 is a brick. 引 means to lead or guide. And 玉, everybody should know 玉. It's jade. Jade. So the meaning behind it is you throw out a brick to attract a jade. How does that apply for all of us? It's a Chinese expression to be very humble. You pretend to say something very simple, hoping that whatever you threw out there is going to get some gem of a response from this audience. Now, why did we choose this? Today you'll find out in Table Topics, the Table Topics master is going to throw something out and hoping she'll get a jade of an answer. For me, I'm not only Toastmaster, I'm also the mentor of this club. Meaning, this is a brand new club. What I see in every single one of you, you are either jade out there or jade in the making. How's that sound? Okay? Does that make you feel good? You're either jade or you're jade in the making. So today's theme for the meeting is 抛砖引玉. We're going to toss that brick out and hope jade will come back. So our first jade to come up, or jade in the mating, is going to be an icebreaker. An icebreaker is the first speech that the member has ever done. And evaluating our first speaker, Michael Leonard, will be Marshko. Marshko, can you tell the audience what the first speech goals are?
So this is the icebreaker speech. The goal of this speech is to introduce yourself to the audience, let them know more about you, and it's sort of a warm-up to the speeches that are to come. The easiest thing for us is to talk about ourselves, so this should hopefully make you feel comfortable being in the front, speaking to everybody, and then, is that it? Are there any others I forgot?
Essentially, an icebreaker is the first time this person will come up here and just explore what he already has in strength and find out where he needs some improvement. This will be his first chance, just like all of you will have a chance or have already to come up here to do, and then Marshko will listen for and watch things that he already does well, and then point out areas that he's not. So 我们现在要准备演讲，准备好了。So calling up our first speaker, let me just tell you briefly about him. He has been a globetrotter since he was lower than this table high, okay? Meaning he was very little. And so he's going to come up here and explain who he is and why he is such a young globetrotter. Please help us welcome Michael Leonard with his speech.
My name is Michael Leonard, and this is my first presentation. It's the icebreaker speech. So in this presentation, I'll share a little bit about my childhood and my experiences growing up overseas and how they influenced my study of Chinese. When I was born, my family lived in Ghana, in West Africa. We lived in a village in the jungle called Putikbene. There was no running water or electricity. And I was born in the middle of the night by the light of a kerosene lantern, those old-fashioned lanterns. Since the village was in the jungle, most of the people had never seen a white baby before in their lives. So they were very curious. I had a lot of babysitters. I was surrounded by people speaking the local language, Gedre. In Gedre, the word for come here is ba. And they do a hand gesture like this, ba. My first word as a baby was a combination of ba and come. was bum. Gedre is a tonal language, like Chinese. Because I grew up hearing tonal languages, it developed part of my brain that is responsible for processing tones. Most of my childhood and teenage years were spent in Ghana. When I moved to the US and entered college, I had difficulty adjusting to the culture. It was hard making friends with regular Americans. I cared about different things than they did. I didn't understand pop culture. I didn't get the jokes. After a couple of lonely years trying to fit in, I read a book called Third Culture Kids. It's written by two psychologists named Pollack and Van Recken. They interviewed hundreds of people with international childhoods like mine to find out the challenges and advantages of growing up in two cultures. As I read the book, I was amazed that it was about me. They were talking about me and my problems, my abilities. And there are millions of others in the same cultural limbo, not fully belonging to one culture or another. Many of them grow up, like President Obama, to be very successful. This information in the book gave me the courage to stop trying to be a regular American and just be myself. It was the turning point in my cultural adjustment to life in the United States. I started hanging out with international students. I joined the International Students Organization at my college and made a lot of friends and had a lot of fun. A lot of my friends from college speak Mandarin. They're a big reason why I started learning Mandarin in the first place. So I was able to pick up the tones in Mandarin much faster than my normal American classmates because of my childhood exposure to tonal languages. And that's the story of how a little baby in the jungles of Africa grew up and is now giving this presentation at the Mandarin English Toastmasters Club. Thank you very much. Thanks.
That was wonderful, isn't it? That's why we love this bicultural club. It's not just bilingual, it's bicultural. So exciting. And do we have little slips of paper, or we don't, for comments to the speaker, Kathy? Or
Well, last week we had been using the back of the agenda to write comments to the speaker. I think there were three questions that we would write answers to. What kind of message did you get from the speech? What are the good things you see the speaker did in the speech? And what are the improvements you think the speaker can do for the next speech?
okay, that is a very good idea. Because this is a new club, there are certain things that are not set yet. In some meetings, we actually have prepared little slips of paper. Speaking of, okay, so Marshko is going to hand out. What you would like to do is the piece of paper that she's going to hand out now has certain perforated areas where you could write your comments to the speaker. And they have areas where you can also comment on the person who did the role of Toastmaster, table topics, and so forth. If you want to comment on something else, just cross out the heading. This is very helpful because it helps the speaker find out. 你觉得呢？
就基本上用刚刚发下来的这张纸上面记录主要3件事情，一个就是这个演讲者他的讲的最好的地方，跟你觉得他需要改善的地方，还有一个就是说经过听到他整个演讲之后，你有什么地方你觉得最 take away 最值得你就是纪念到这个演讲。
That's what I think. So we usually have 2 speakers, or actually we can fit up to 4 speakers in a session like today. Of our other 2, unfortunately, there are some family issues or conflict of interest. So Marco and Vicky are probably going to give their speech. I'm just going to question out here, do any of you have what they call in Toastmaster a pocket speech? So I'm going to actually take this opportunity to mention something about a pocket speech to all of you. It means that you have a speech running in your head, and you are processing it. Any day now, you would like to give that. So it is good practice for all of you who have ambitions to become better speaker to have a couple of pocket speech, meaning you have one in your pocket in case Barry and I say, okay, 2 people couldn't speak today. Would somebody like to jump up and get a chance? The reason that this is very valuable to all of you, and think about that, is in a meeting where you are meeting only once a week, meaning we only get to speak 4 times a week. If we have 30 to 40 members, it means you may not get to speak for another 2 months. If you are here to truly improve your speaking ability, you really need to get up here and practice as much as possible. So I'm curious, does anybody have a pocket speech today? Either in English, Mandarin, or Cantonese? Okay. Or 天不怕地不怕最怕我讲广东话. So why don't we go to our second portion of the program, which is the table topics. So Barry, could you explain in Chinese what table topics is?
即席演讲基本上没有准备讲稿的演讲。
Okay. So leading us in that portion will be Robert Tran. Robert, could you please come here and explain what your portion of the program is?
Okay. Do that.
Okay. So the goal of the table topic for the English version is to have you be able to come up with something off the top of your head after I give you a question. Anything. So it helps you to improvise or just come up and talk about whatever is on the, whatever question is going to be. So to hopefully help you guys understand better of this phrase, throw out the break to attract the jade, I'm just going to throw out some really crazy ideas tonight. And you guys are going to fill in with your creativity as to what will you do next if you were in that situation. Now, we talked about 2012 being the year of the calamity that everything's going to come to an end. So instead of having fireballs coming down on Earth and killing everybody, how about if we're going to have a zombie attacking people? Okay. So imagine yourself in a situation where when you wake up one morning, what you see outside in front of your door are zombies trying to come up and bang on your doors and trying to find you and eat you. Regardless, you see dead bodies outside everywhere, and then they all just turn into zombie, and everybody's coming to attack you. You just woke up. You just woke up. You looked outside your window, and you're, oh my God, you don't know what to do. But what will you do? What could you do? Okay, your families are still inside, by the way. So your mom and dad, your sister are all in there. They're all great. But you have to make a decision as to how you will protect them. So would anybody like to answer the first question? How you would protect your family if you were to face a zombie attack? Marshall.
Oh, do I go up or?
Yeah, come on up.
So I had 2 different ideas about how to do this. The first thought that came to my head was I would dress up like one of them. So I'd paint my face white or find flour or something, make myself look really pale, start going like this, shred my clothes a little bit. When they come to the door banging, I'd be like, what? Right. And then I create a diversion while the rest of my family escapes out the window to the roof or something. But then my second thought was, well, they're after brains, right? And I'm not a stupid person, but I was horrible at math, so I thought, I can pull out all those papers with my math grades on them or my old report book cards and say, see, no brains, no brains. So those are my 2 ideas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Marshall, for that wonderful impromptu right there. Certainly, having zombie attack is one of the things that we don't ever want to face. Now, the second thing that I'd like to throw out to you guys is, let's put zombie aside, because zombie's too scary. Let's have something else. Something else. What if animals could think? What if they could think like us? Like Planet of the Apes, for instance. Apes suddenly could think, talk, even thinking that why should they be second-class animals and humans be the first-class animal? Okay, so now we're talking about all types of animals. So let me just try to shrink that down. What if lions, tigers could think? And lions and tigers starts a revolution on human. Lions and tigers starting a revolution on humans, and they want to come and take over the world. And they want to share all the resources that we're sharing. Now, how will you, as human, talk to these lions and have a negotiation with them and tell them to just back down and go back into their cage and be their lion friends or whatever, and so we humans can continue to rule this world? How will you convince these lions to stay down? That is the question. So with zombies aside, now we have animals coming over and taking over the world.
Animating now, sorry.
So anybody would like to throw out how they're going to talk down the lions and have them go back into the cave? Anybody?
You can pick somebody wrong. Fair game.
Fair game, huh?
I'm not a meeting now, I'll be back.
Timo.
Yeah.
As an animal expert, I'm just gonna shut this. I mean, we know with any disagreement, one thing that can potentially work is negotiation, right? Definitely not everybody or every animal on Earth has what you have or what Robert has, and so on and so forth. So they will be looking for something, and we all know lions love raw meat. What we would do is we would go for all the meat reserves and then negotiate with them and say, we'll give you all the meat we have, and we'll go vegan for so many years. And then this way, that's our trade-off. We'll just be vegans, you have the meat, but you just have to live in this part of the world for the next 4 years, and then in those 4 years, we'll figure out something else. That'll be my idea.
Yes, animals love meat, right? We love everything else but meat. Well, except all these carnivores. We like beef as well. So besides having animals and having zombies, what else could attack this world that's going to make everybody go crazy? How about insects? Bees attacking humans. Bees attacking humans. Or we're talking about cockroaches attacking humans. Pretty creepy, right? But certainly anything is possible when you come up here and do a table topic, because you're out there throwing these weird bricks, which are absolutely meaningless, and trying to get great creative responses. So if there was a bee invasion, almost like the movie The Bird from Alfred Hitchcock, that was a bird invasion. So now here's a bee invasion. How will you stop the bees from attacking? We're not talking about 10, hundreds of bees. We're talking about millions of bees swarming humans. And how are you going to protect yourself from a bee invasion? Okay? We're not talking about regular bees. We're talking about really poisonous bees here. Okay? Not the one where you get stung on and there's just some lumps on your hand. No. This is the type that once they sting you, you're dead in about 5 minutes. So how are you going to protect yourself from a bee invasion? You can talk down the lions to give them meat. You can pretend to be one of the zombies and stay away, but bees, now, they just want to kill you. How are you going to stop them from just killing you? Anybody would like to volunteer for that? It's only a bee invasion. Come on, guys. Ben, would you like to talk about how would you stop a bee invasion?
Okay, I got timers on.
That's okay.
It's okay.
I got my watch. Go for it.
So the question is how to protect yourself from the bee invasion,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Well, I think one of the first things I learned about protecting yourself from bees is if I'm near some water, I would go swimming, try to get in some sort of protection right there. If you're by yourself, I would either go underwater, with a pipe there so you can still breathe until it disappeared. There are other methods, if you get a net of some sort that would help protect yourself, but not knowing what the situation is, where you are, how you're going to be attacked. So you have to think of different ways of protecting yourself. And I suspect there are many ways, but depending on the circumstances where you are, and I would think one way is try to get yourself in some sort of just water, go into the water.
Okay. Thank you. Right. So bees, you can burn them, right? You can hold a torch and just wiggle around until they you fend off all bees. You could jump into the water. 70% of the earth is water, so I guess you can start swimming in there and maybe stay away from bees. But so again, there are different ways to protect yourself, whether it be a zombie invasion, a lion invasion, or bee invasion. And I'm just throwing out all the bricks right here, and then we did attract a lot of jade answers, very creative from you guys. So that is my table topic for today, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. Following this is the Mandarin portion of table topics. And before Barry announces his portion of it, I would like to say one thing about this club, who's ever here today. If you understand the question in Mandarin and you want to answer it in English, it's okay. If you understand it in Mandarin and you want to reply in Mandarin or English, it's also okay. Remember, this is 3 things we're learning here. So Barry is going to explain who is coming up next.
接下来的即时演讲是 Regina。
So we're going to welcome Regina up here to do the Mandarin portion.
Okay. 接下来我将会用上一个礼拜的一个事件来抛砖引玉，让我们来一起看一下现在的社会现象。在上个礼拜，我相信很多人都有听到这样一个事件，在佛罗拉多州20号午夜场的蝙蝠侠电影里面，有一个人拿枪在戏院里面打死了很多人，里面有12个人死了，58个人受伤了。这个人的名字叫做James。现在我想问一下，就是说请一位嘉宾上来分享一下他对于这个事件的一些看法。谁会说国语，或者谁愿意说？
我国语不太好，我试一试哈。上个星期我就听这个故事，有一个人出去个预言，这个电影我都想看，这个 Batman 电影我都想看，这个 Dark Knight。等这个人呢就开枪杀很多人，他说他是 the Joker 所以我觉得这个人呢，我一听这个故事，我说这个人呢就一定有一个精神病，就他的思想不是正常，因为 一个正常人不会跑了一个电影院说他是一个 Joker 来开枪杀那么多人，所以最近我都有看这个新闻，我觉得他现在我有跟我的朋友我的家人都说这个人怎么办呢？这个他已经杀了那么多人了，这个人应该我们应该杀他我们应该放在这个精神病的医院永远都放在这里还是怎么？所以我有跟很多人谈过，我自己的看法是，要是他有精神病呢，他就应该放在一个精神病的医院，因为他的脑有问题。要是他没有精神病，他只是一个坏人，就是杀人，那么这个人呢就应该放在prison， 永远都不出来。所以我自己的看法是这样。这是你的。
他刚才讲到，我先生也说上个礼拜要去看，我说看了这个新闻以后不要再去看，太危险了。可能是我自己害怕吧。像刚才所说的，这个人他本身他是神经学博士生，他这件事发生以后，我都有看那个新闻，在那个法庭上，我可以看到他的那个眼光是很半梦半醒这样子哈，精神上好像有些问题，对吧？那现在司法也开始见证，看他的精神状态怎么样。那我想问一下，我本人觉得这个事情我是完全不可以接受，因为太残忍了，我觉得就应该把他枪毙了。我想问一下，你觉得是不是应该要把他处以死刑呢？或者说应不应该因为他的精神有问题而减轻而免除他的死刑？想看一下有谁可以发表这个。
我自己是属于比较传统的，就是中国人的观念，然后我自己学工程的，所以遇到这种事情，我其实不只是遇到这个事情，遇到很多事情，我第一个会想的问题是为什么这个会发生 ？Why？ 那我觉得这个问题会比就是说是不是要把这个人处死是更重要的，因为你知道了解为什么这个事情会发生之后，你可以预防以后同样的事情再发生。那这个事情已经发生，你把它处死或不处死，其实对我个人来讲，我觉得没有太大的意义啦。今天不是说因为我没有受害我会这样，我想其实是一样的，因为你基本上是一个报复的行为嘛，你把它处死或不处死，对已经受到伤害的这些家人来讲，其实并没有太大的意义。所以我的想法会是说，我会比较注重在说去研究为什么这个事情会发生。那中国人其实我们从小长大最根深蒂固的观念就是一个家庭的观念嘛，但是说为什么这个事情发生的时候，他的家人或朋友没有事前去注意到说他的精神上已经有些异常，这个会是我比较有兴趣的一个主题，而不是说把这个人处死或不处死，我觉得那个其实并没有太大意义，这是我的看法。
谢谢边宇跟我们的分享。说真的，让他的讲法让我想起，就是中国人我们的教育是着重于德智体，所以说家庭的伦理观、个人的道德，所以我们中国人比较说很多事情在发生之前，可能家里的人或者朋友或者学校或者你的同学，他们可能都会注意到这个问题。而在美国，可能是每个人比较那个德的教育上面，我觉得还 欠缺，因为他们都好像比较是推崇自由个人的一个方向。那他这个人他在6月份的时候，其实他已经申请了去退学了。那退学以后，他是买了很多的枪还有弹药。听新闻报道是他会从那个 Internet 上面买。那这件事发生以后，买枪的人比过去增长了43%。那我想问一下，我们应该就是说，我们需要去买这个枪来保护自己吗？还是说我们不需要呢？有没有想分享一下？你会讲国语吗？
前面这位先。
我想讲一下我自己的看法，关于那个买枪的事。在美国政府呢，据我所知呢，拥有枪支这个权利呢，是在很久很久以前，在美国建国不久的时候，那时候是为了防止那个美国政府的管制的不好的话，人们呢会有武器来制衡那个政府。但是我觉得在现在呢，美国的社会的民主社会建设的已经很完善，已经没有必要再用这种拥有一种暴力的能力、武器的拥有武器来制约这个政府。我觉得要是在已经一个很完善的民主的社会基础下呢，完全是没有必要。所以，但是为什么到现在都那个枪械的管制还是没有一个总统，没有一个政府能够废除呢？这里就牵涉到很多利益的问题。据我所关注一些新闻呢，一直的关注的一些报道啊，就是因为这里面牵涉到一个枪械的协会啦，还有总统选举的很多资金呢的赞助的基金啊，这是很多经济的来源啊，这些问题。但是作为一个普通市民来说呢，我觉得枪支的管制呢，应该提到一个总统的法律上一个议程上。按照我自己的看法，我是绝对不赞成是拥有枪支的。谢谢。
所以我觉得还是说，如果我们可以去着重于教育，从心智出发，可能像这样子的悲剧就会减少很多了。
Thank you, Regina, for some really interesting topics, some very, very current events expressed in Mandarin. Just out of curiosity, how many of you understood her questions, sort of? Fantastic. Most of you, sort of, okay? Yes. And to answer it is another challenge there too. So Barry, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a very, very good topic for today. It's provoking and inspiring a lot of thinking and how do we prevent this from happening again. It's a good topic.
我觉得你的回答不错. I think his answer was pretty interesting too as well. And now we are going to go to the third portion of the program. And the third portion of the program is called evaluation. And I'm going to let Barry tell you in Chinese what evaluations are.
我们接下来会进行演讲的评估，那就是刚一开始提到的文法官、衡量官跟技师员会把他们的一些记录的东西跟大家拿出来讨论。
So leading us in this portion of the program would be Philip Chow, and we're going to have him come up. Philip.
Okay, so this is the fun portion, okay? We're going to evaluate what happened tonight. So I'm going to start by asking our English evaluator, it's Marshika. Maybe you can come up and let us know what you think of Michael's speech.
I want to stand up here actually. So I think Michael's icebreaker was perfect because it did what the icebreaker is supposed to do. It made us want to learn more. We learned a lot more about you. I liked in particular how you included some really vivid details, like how you were born, and then the bomb thing. That was really cute. And this being a bicultural club, we're all really interested in people who grew up abroad or have like different experiences growing up. So I'm sure we all want to get to know you some more after the meeting's over today. I think you had good eye contact. You made sure to kind of make contact around the room. Your transitions between kind of the portions of your speech were very smooth. I almost don't notice that they're there, but they are, of course. So I like those things a lot. And also very engaging stories. Like we all feel like we're sucked in, like we're not looking at our watch or whatever. So of course that's good. I don't want to phrase this as criticism because it's not. This is simply, since it's your first time up, I'm sure that as you give more and more speeches that these certain things will fall away, like using a paper. I know we all have to use it when we're starting out, and I think probably as you go along you will kind of phase that out and deliver as if you are speaking to, like we're all speaking together, rather than kind of a detached, like, well, you weren't reading from the paper, but just kind of, I guess that's all I wanted to say. But I really enjoyed it, and I want to hear more about Ghana, so, yeah, so thank you.
Awesome review. Now we're going to move into our mixed portion, which is an all counter. I believe that's Ben. Maybe you can let us know.
That'll be me.
Oh, sorry, Timo. Maybe you can
No problem.
let us know what you counted.
I'm gonna start with the Toastmasters. Elliot, I only heard one and I'm sorry I didn't exclude you guys from this. And Barry, I heard 3 from you. And Michael's speech, you had 0. Robert, Toastmaster, Table Topic Master, sorry, 4 and 6 so's. That extended a little bit. And Marshika's Table Topics response had 1 so, 3 Ben's Table Topics response had 6 and 1 so. Regina had 10 Philip had 12 yeah, for your Table Topics answer.
There's still more coming.
Yeah, you're something up. And Barry's Table Topics and response had 2 Marshika, your evaluation had 7 and 1 so. Thank you.
Next we have our timer. Deputy, can you give us a timer report?
Michael's speech was 3 minutes and 22 seconds. And the English table topic, Moshiko, 51 seconds. Timo, 49 seconds. And Barry, 48 seconds. For the Mandarin table topics, Phil, you have 1 minute and 50 seconds. Barry have 1 minute and 18 seconds. And Winston, you have 1 minute and 41 seconds. Yes, that's it, right?
Thanks, Fred.
Okay.
And now we also have the grammarian. We have 2. We have Elliot and Barry. Maybe you can share what you found.
Today, I only heard one member refer to the expression, which was Regina. Or am I incorrect? Also our table topics, yes. So the whole idea of throwing a breakout here for all of us to learn from is that we just start to use it as part of our vocabulary and conversation. Next time, maybe we could just use maybe one word And in the rules of table topics used by other clubs, there's actually a challenge for the people who get up here to do table topics to actually use that word as a must. How about that? So that everybody who did the table topic would have used the word either brick or jade or attract. But in this case, we have an expression. Did you notice anything, Barry?
Yes, so that's a very good summary. So 抛砖引玉讲了一次。I think I consider myself the brick. This is actually my second time here in Toastmaster. So I consider myself a brick, and then earlier more so a Jay, she's our mentor. So I hope what I'm doing here today, can kind of attract more people who want to participate next time. So that's probably a good sum up from me for today.
Thank you. Now finally, I guess that's my portion, general evaluator. The first thing I noticed about this meeting was it started on time. So it was on time, and I noticed right from the very start that there was a good balance between Mandarin and English. The meeting wasn't totally English, it wasn't totally Mandarin. It was pretty balanced. And I think that was an improvement from our previous meetings where we tend to be more English heavy. I like the lesson. I like this Pao Zhu Yu. I think this is a good expression, and I actually never heard this expression before, so I learned something new tonight, and I really appreciate the lesson. And overall, I think the meeting went pretty smooth. I like the table topics. I think there were good topics. And I like how Elliot told us that we're free to respond in Mandarin, English, or Cantonese to these table topics, depending on how we feel. I think that made a lot of us, especially those people that do speak Mandarin as well, give us some comfort, especially for myself. So looking at this meeting, if I had to be nitpicky and try to pick out something, anything out there, I'm scratching my head and I'm thinking, maybe one thing. Yeah, maybe we could target the new people a little bit more for the table topics.
Yes.
I know we were giving them, we're trying to be nice and trying to not make them feel uncomfortable. But I think that's also part of the challenge. Maybe the first person that we call up could be someone like a regular, and after that, then maybe we shouldn't be so nice. We should target people like Diane and some other people who kind of let them have something to consider. Not to say that we do it every time, but that's something I would ask that we consider doing. Okay, thank you, and I believe it's time for the Toastmasters to come back up.
Thank you, General Evaluator Philip. Following this portion, we are actually going to ask opinions from the guests who are here, and to handle that portion of it, I'm going to let my Mandarin Toastmaster ask you in Mandarin what you thought of the meeting, and probably if you can answer in Mandarin or Cantonese, and last of all English, that would be fine. Lisa?
那最后这一部分我们就我想今天 focus 就是今天是专注在讲国语这一部分啊，会讲国语的人，可能我希望每个人都多少有一点今天你的感想。那我就从
今天好像有3位，
对，今天还没有发言会讲国语的，要不要自愿一下？麦克，
好，我今天是我第一次的演讲，我错过了就很开心，因为没有人要让我再说。所以，我谢谢你们，谢谢大家听我的演讲。我欢迎你的怎么说意见，我怎么会改，会比较好的演讲。谢谢。
抱歉，我有点晚到。这是我第一次来这个lecture，我觉得感觉还蛮好的。
不要借这个机会顺便介绍一下你自己？因为一般第一次来的人会介绍一下自己这样子。
OK，我是从台湾来，那我住在 Bay Area like around 6 years, and because I realized after I start work, I realized I have a very strong like English barrel, so I 想借着这个 meeting 来 practice like kind of overcome my difficulty about the language. Yeah.
This is the place.
Okay, I'll do it since this is my first time. So I find the meeting very interesting. So from your speech to what happened to the phrase and right now, so everyone is very encouraging. So it's an atmosphere that I really enjoy. So yeah, I think going forward I'll probably come again. So it was a nice meeting. Nice meeting everyone.
Anyone else?
这位
大家好，我叫胡世兰，这是我的第一次，我听不懂多中文，我很大真，我很喜欢外语，我会说英文、芬兰话、西班牙语，一点中文，一点德文，我很喜欢念书和中文，谢谢大家。
很好。还有没有其他的来宾？
Anyone else?
No? So the rest of you are members? How about that? I believe. Yes. That's wonderful. So I see that you said was so again. Did you catch that? Be very careful not to start your speech with so. How many of us? Leave it blank and go right ahead. Now we're getting to the English portion of my concluding our program. Before I call up the president, this is an opportunity that Barry and I are experiencing as part of the Toastmaster experience. When you join this club, you not only get to practice the speech portion, you actually get to come up here and practice leading a meeting, organizing a meeting, and this and that. And I'm going to call up our vice president now to prepare for the next meeting coming up. And before bringing him up, again, because I'm a mentor of this club and I want this club to do really well, meaning there are several Toastmasters club around here. Whoever takes a role, number one, it is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to practice. We would like you to honor that commitment, and if you cannot make that, it's important that you either find a substitute or call the Toastmaster right away. Part of our responsibility in leadership is that we organize behind the scenes this meeting for you. The two people who did not show up, in truth, I don't want to embarrass anybody, did not even call, did not even respond, you see. In order for this club to really grow, if you say you're going to be making a speech, please honor that. It's like what you would do inside or outside this club. And so you really actually hurt yourself when you take this club too casually. Several of us come here. This is a voluntary organization, and we will do our best to give opinions of how to get better. So when Robert is going to call up who wants to do the role, there are several roles involved with every meeting. You saw some of them. Definitely there are speeches that you can give. Join the club and give a speech, prepare speeches. Second part is the table topics. You will be asked those questions. It's very important for you to exercise that part, to think fast. And then the roles that we take, Barry and I, we were our Toastmasters. We come up here. You can volunteer for that as well. Table topics, Robert came up with some questions to ask, hoping that you will be excited enough to answer that. That is your role as a good leader, to come up with exciting questions. And Regina, she also pushed her envelope too in exercising her Mandarin portion. She really use pronunciation. She looked up really good in vocabulary. She came up with some good questions in Mandarin. See, so behind the scene, you can see how you are able to improve and also overcome your fear. When we bring out Robert to ask for roles for next week, I really invite you to just go for it, because of all places for you to try these roles, this is the safest, most supportive place that there is. Okay? So with this portion, I'm going to ask Barry,要不要再加几句？
我想就简短的说，就是希望大家尽量的多多参与。那如果你参加的某些项目不能出席的时候，请尽量让那个主持人知道。
So with that, I'm going to invite the vice president of this club to come up here and then do the closing comment, plus set up next week's meeting.
Thank you, everyone, for coming to tonight's meeting. I know we have a small group tonight, but essentially we did have good speech, and we have various table topics that really challenge some of you's minds. So, and I also agree with Elliot saying that if you're going to be taking on a role, please be here to fulfill that role. And if you really can't, really just let your Toastmasters know in advance, so we as officers could find other people to fill up the role for you guys. So without saying too much, I'd like to go ahead and set up next week's agenda. So the first thing that we need to do is to find an English and Mandarin Toastmaster. Would anybody like to volunteer for any of the role, English or Mandarin?
I'm sorry, I have to go. Okay. Did you leave your name? I did not. Leave it.
Anybody's comfortable being a Toastmaster?
Any role that you have, you will have guidance and instruction. As a matter of fact, the philosophy of this club is to call pay it forward or a buddy system. Whoever was Toastmaster last time is going to go to the next Toastmaster and say, what kind of help do you need? This is your pen. And so if you volunteer to be a table topic, Robert is going to help and guide you. If you were asked to volunteer to be a general evaluator, Philip would have you. So.
You want to do the English version of the Toastmaster or the Mandarin Toastmaster?
I would like to prepare speech.
He would like to do a prepared speech.
Okay, you want to do a prepared speech. Okay. So Winston is going to do a prepared speech. Okay. But we still need to find a Toastmaster for the English. We can't have a meeting without Toastmasters. That's the thing. Now, if nobody is going to be volunteering, I'll do the English version of the Toastmaster. So I'll set myself up
Okay,
for
Robert.
the English Toastmaster. Anybody like to do the Mandarin portion of the Toastmaster? Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. Wendy? Okay, so great. So Wendy's going to be the Mandarin Toastmaster.
你会信?
陈
Okay. Great. So now here's some of the easier roles. We need a grammarian. Michael. Designated. I got you down. Okay. Grammarian Michael. Okay. Now, counter. Would anybody like to be the counter for next week's meeting? You're going to give a speech, so you don't need to do that. Okay, Barry's going to be the counter. Okay. Anybody like to be the timer for next week? Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Ursula?
Ursula?
URS.
Okay, Ursula is going to be the timer. Now we have one prepared speech. Winston's going to give a prepared speech. Anybody else would like to give a prepared speech? Kathy? You're going to do it in English, right? Okay, so yeah, we can have 2 more Mandarin and 1 more English if possible. I mean, anybody.
Regina, you going to do Mandarin?
Yeah, I'm going to do
Okay, Regina's going to do a Mandarin.
if there is a slot.
Oh, that's fine.
Sure.
So Kathy, are you going to do it?
Yeah, I think there's the open, right? So Regina
Yeah.
and I can both do the Mandarin.
Okay, okay, all right, that's good. All right,
Good
so
job, good job.
Mandarin. Now, So for Regina, that's going to be your third, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And for Kathy, it's
That's
that
gonna be the fourth.
fourth? Okay. Let's see, Mandarin, English. Okay. We have one more opening for the English speech. Would anybody else like to participate in giving a prepared speech next week? English? Okay. We will hold that. Hopefully somebody has a pocket speech. Okay. Now, let's go to the next one, English table topic. Anybody would like to volunteer to do the English table topic? Okay, Marshka, okay. Okay, Mandarin table topic. Okay, Philip. Okay. Now, to help with some of the speakers, we need evaluators to evaluate Winston, Regina, and Kathy. Would anybody like to be speech evaluator for the English or the Mandarin speech?
I could be evaluated for any of them.
Okay.
I'll be.
And
Okay.
English.
So you'll be English. So Elliot, why don't you take on the Mandarin one then?
Okay.
Okay.
So Ben's going to be evaluating Winston, and then Elliot's going to be evaluating, well, Regina or Kathy.
Okay.
Would it be too much for you to do both, or would it just be one is fine?
I've been doing, but it's always good to allow anybody else who want the opportunity to grab it from me. How about that? Okay.
Unfortunately, I think we have limited Mandarin speaker at this point because everybody took up the roles already.
Okay. All right.
So for now, we'll just set you up
Sure.
for two,
Sure.
and if anything else, we'll change that. Okay. So we got next thing we need is the general evaluator of this whole meeting, which is a very easy role. Just come up and call people up.
We'll have David.
I'm sorry, David.
Okay, so I'll put David down.
Okay. Now, I don't think I'm missing any other rules. I think we have a full agenda next week.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, I'd like to call and adjourn the meeting at this point, and thank you everyone for coming tonight.
So how much?